All right, welcome to the Gen X Rated Thursday edition. How we doing today?
Good here.
Excellent. You may have noticed Uncle Bill's here, but as is Melissa. Fortunate to have her today.
Very excited to have Melissa back again.
Welcome.
Thank you.
So I don't know how the weather is in California, but it's like 87 degrees here in the middle of the country. Pretty hot.
Yeah, we've had some hot weather, but it's nice now. It's like mid 70s.
Okay, so California weather.
California kind of went over the hump with that heat wave we had. But it's crazy that hot here on the west side, because on the west side it usually doesn't get much over 80.
Yeah.
In the dead of summer it might, but we had like 90, a little bit higher than 90-degree weather. That's, no climate change though. Everything is.
Oh yeah, everything is fine. Not to worry.
Yeah.
Well, in the Pacific Northwest went through that whole thing where people were literally dying. We didn't hear a whole lot about it because why would you? No need for FEMA to come in, so why talk about it?
Right.
But yeah, we fluctuate between hot and cold here quite a bit, but it is spring. I just didn't think it would be 90 degrees on March 26th, but
it's crazy hot. But don't worry, we're going to have severe storms tonight, and then it's going to get cold again.
That's right. The severe storms are the worst part of it. And if we do have a hot summer, which they're kind of predicting with El Nino coming through and everything, the grid's going to be an issue. And since we feel like we don't need oil and don't really care about that war that's going on, or we're ignoring.
No, it's an excursion. It's an excursion. We're not having
it's like it's like a day trip to the casino for the people at the old folks' home. We're taking an excursion to the casino.
Right, or you go on a boat and you go on a ground excursion, a short excursion. Yes, one short trip. That's what that is.
Well, and he did specify that it's a military operation, because if it were called a war, he would have had to go through Congress, which he chose not to do. Excursion seems kind of quaint and fun.
Right.
It's a fun excursion.
Mm-hmm.
But we do have about 12,000 American soldiers that are heading over to maybe overtake that island. Tomorrow's Friday. Trump usually likes to do things Friday after markets close. Mm-hmm. He's done manipulating and making his cash during the week. And I'm sure from what the Republicans are saying, gear up for boots on the ground, because we're not sending them over there not to put them on that island.
Right.
It's insane. It really is. But I think I sent you off of TikTok a couple of the AI videos that Iran is putting out. Did you see those?
I haven't.
They're incredible. They just show their social media game is so much better than Trump's. It's like way up. It's a very cool hip hop diss track, and the graphics are amazing, if I can say that without sounding treasonous.
Yeah, sure.
I mean, their game is way, way above Trump's. And dude, they know what's coming. They're built for this. Again, they never intended to fight a head-to-head war like World War II.
Right.
Their whole thing is just to make this as painful as possible for everyone.
Yep.
And that's exactly what's going to happen. And these people, these fools that are in charge, I mean, you've got a fucking white Christian nationalist drunkard in charge of the military who can't wait to get people killed.
Right. He's so excited about it. It's terrible.
He's so excited. And it makes Trump feel like a real manly man too.
Yeah. I know. They like talking about that and having videos. They said Trump just gets videos of things blowing up.
Yeah, that's what they show him. He's like a toddler.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Well, and we're seeing video coming out of the Middle East of our bases. There's 13 bases that we have in the Gulf, Persian Gulf, that we have no soldiers at anymore. You saw them before, you saw them after. They're blown up. I don't know how many casualties they took and where those soldiers went basically to many of the Gulf states, but they're not on U.S. Bases anymore because, as Trump said, they were surprised. They didn't think they'd retaliate against their neighbors. Like, did you really think this through? I mean,
No, he didn't.
and there are 90 million people. This isn't Afghanistan. They're not living in caves. They may have their stuff buried underground, but these are not stupid people. We went in there totally unprepared on an excursion, and now we're going to send these Marines in there. And they keep mentioning Iwo Jima, which was probably the bloodiest battle of World War II. Almost prepare us for this because they're already hiding casualties. I mean, you can't deny the fact that we have a lot more casualties than the 9 people that they said that came back through Dover. But we're not admitting anything. But you can't keep that going forever. These people have families. They're going to come back injured, etc. So maybe
Or are they?
Great, or maybe not at all. Good point.
I mean, I wouldn't put anything past these people.
No, I don't. I don't either. I mean, I've always been, a bit cynical about politicians, but I understand it's a profession, and it's a thing, but I never thought that I had to. I mean, seriously wonder about every single thing I'm told. Every single bit of news coming out of the White House is suspicious. I don't believe anything.
Absolutely. And they got rid of, just like with the FBI, anybody that looked into Trump and his criminal elements during his presidency are all gone. Kash Patel got rid of all of them. The Department of Justice second in charge Blanche says, "Hey, yeah, new game in town. You work for the president only." These career military people brought a lot. They weren't Republicans and Democrats per se. They were lifelong workers in our military and in our government. We ran them out of the State Department too. Like you're not going to get both sides issues to make a credible decision. You're just going to go with your gut. And it's not working out so far.
Yeah.
No, and
well, he feels it in his bones when it's time to end the war,
Yeah.
I mean, it's
by what his sense of morality tells him to do.
Not that. Not any. There's no sense of morality of this person.
No.
Well, Epstein files, just to not forget why we're doing all this stuff. Epstein files. I mean, the stuff that continues to come out, you just can't hide it. The rest of the world has it. Maybe we're getting it through a dropper, but it's disturbing. Every day that something pops up is more and more disturbing. And these guys were part of it. I mean, a big part of it, frankly. So it'd be nice to see a little bit of justice. We'll see. But instead, we're going the other way. Melissa and I had talked about how they're lowering the standard for enlisting officers in the Army. Instead of 35 years of age, you can be up to 42. We want you, right? You have a cannabis conviction? No biggie, which I do agree with, but I'm just saying, 42-year-old frontline infantry, I don't know. And why would we be doing this? The Pentagon estimated that 23% of young people from age 17 to 24, only 23% would be eligible based on the criteria. Why? Poor academic performance of testing, obesity, and criminal records, not related to cannabis. So why would you be doing this all now unless you planned on maybe staying here for a little bit? It's concerning. This whole draft thing, are you kidding me? I mean, I never thought in my all my years growing up that would be an issue.
Me either, because that was so in Vietnam. We grew up like just after Vietnam, basically.
Yeah.
And the whole idea of a draft was just such an anathema. Like I thought we'd never even think about it again.
For sure.
Bringing that up is just another.
And yet here we are. Because I remember as a kid, you would see it on the news at night.
Yep.
They'd have a casualty report, and they would show like what was happening there, and they even had these bracelets you could get with the name of an MIA soldier that you could wear. I had a guy named John Adams.
Wow.
Yeah. But this is insanity. We don't learn anything from history. Trump has never cared anything about history. And again, this is a whole government filled with just sycophants and schemers.
Yeah, absolutely.
The people that actually made this government run fairly efficiently, honestly, with the size of this country and everything, they're gone. They were either forced out, fired, or they left. They saw the writing on the wall. And I mean, you're seeing that now with air traffic control and ground control. You're seeing that with airport security. I mean, you're seeing it across the board. We've become a third-rate nation in less than a year. We're a banana republic.
And to your point about TSA, first, Tuesday we talked about it. ICE was at Starbucks, kind of hanging out, not doing too much.
Getting paid.
People were quizzing them. Hey, you here to pick anybody up or murder anybody today? And they were like, no, not today. Not murdering anybody today. But today they have a lot of the ICE guys are being trained by TSA at this point. So they're the ones where you step up and look into the screen, hand me your ID. Now it's ICE, which is very convenient. It's in Project 2025 where they want to privatize the airports. They want to put ICE in there. Now it's one-stop shopping. Hey, you can't leave the country, or hey, you're not coming into this country. And now we have a great new place to put these people. We're building what's a $55 billion contract with the Navy to build these what do you like to call them, Uncle Bill? These camps of concentration.
Camps where people are concentrated.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of tent cities will be there as well. And then they started buying these biohazard incinerators just in case. I don't know. I'm not sure what you do with that.
Yeah, just in case. You never know what can happen.
Yeah.
But everybody's getting well-fed and top-notch medical care, and conditions are great.
Yeah, I do like worms in my food. I don't see any problem with them. Just more protein,
Exactly.
That's a great attitude. So this massive network of immigration detention centers are going to be all across America. They're looking to put, these 10 cities could have 10,000 people. I mean, that seems extreme. But these biohazard incinerators seem a little terrifying. And then they also have they're building Neuralink labs near there. And I don't know if they're doing human experiments, Mengele, or what else you would have them for. They're certainly not doing it to take care of those that might, have health issues that they're in these camps. So it's very concerning, and it's not just for immigrants. So I think we really need to keep in mind that if you're not on that 1% team, that you don't really matter too much.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, and if you might have the nerve to speak out or say anything they don't like, well, we've got a place for you.
Yeah, they might send all the protesters on the 28th to these concentration camps.
Good
out.
point. No kings on the 28th. Find it in your town. Just to even get out and find that there are a ton of like-minded people that have a cause that are being stepped on by this regime. So very important. Strength in numbers, and it is always a good time to see that there's a lot of people that have your frustration as well.
And the signs can be really entertaining. So
I think so too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Always a good time. Lastly, on that front with ICE and with restricting who comes in and who comes out, Trump's been talking about for months. In April, he wants to have the first ever National Guard response force, which will be for any national civil unrest. They'll already be in your town. Some of them will specialize in chemical or biological or nuclear scenarios. So be prepared. Laura Loomer is talking about the issue of maybe some kind of major event with mass casualties. I know she's got the president's ear and vice versa. So that kind of stuff's nothing to joke about, but I wouldn't put it past any of these people currently.
No, I mean, there's still a lot of unanswered questions about 9/11. So yeah, I wouldn't put anything past these people. No.
Very true.
And Laura Loomer, especially, she's just a fucking complete insane nut job.
Yeah, she is. Yeah.
Well, and if they keep throwing stuff out, you just can't keep up. I mean, it was months ago we talked about alligator Alcatraz, and it was such a big deal, and people were hot about it, and then it went away, and then DeSantis reinstated it. Now you have 1,200 people that were there that are just missing. Where did you go?
Yeah.
Got a big incinerator if we need to have that used.
Well, they better get that thing down to Florida. Again, these people all have families. Even if you shipped them off to Timbuktu, like some kind of record of that They've started sending parents without their children out of the country. It's just really extremely un-American, to say the very least.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's un-American and it's cruel. It's inhuman.
Yeah.
Well, it's the same with asking TSA to go to work. 500 people have quit. Now you're sending them to work without pay to train who's going to replace them.
Who are getting paid. Who are getting paid.
Yeah, ICE is getting paid. They're also on a stipend. So when you saw them at Starbucks, we were paying for that because they got to eat. Everybody's got to eat, right? I mean, shit. So, and I just want to point out that with this whole DHS thing and the government shutdown based on the fact that the Democrats don't want to fund ICE, which I certainly understand. They have had 9 standalone bills to fund TSA, which has been rejected by the Republicans because they don't care either. But the Department of Homeland Security has quietly redirected millions of money to ICE as it is. A hearing on which was yesterday showed that $310 million has been put into ICE from other departments. Now, some of the concern is that 143 million of that came from cybersecurity and infrastructure security agencies. All I see on TikTok is about the grid. Worry about the grid. How are you going to get power when China does this? China does this. Where are you going to get power? You need this, whatever. Here we are. We're not even worried about it. We've got that gardener who worked at a hardware store. He's in charge of that.
Yeah. Nothing but the best and the brightest.
Yeah, as long as you're willing to kiss ass, it doesn't really matter how prepared you are or how skilled you are.
Yeah, none of that matters.
You just need one skill.
The other part of that 310 million came from FEMA. $32 million taken away from FEMA. People in Kentucky from 10, 12 months ago are still waiting for something. North Carolina, you get nothing.
North St. Louis.
Half of FEMA. Nebraska's on fire. 1 million acres. What are we doing? There's no help there. There's no help
for the people who had fires in Los Angeles last year either.
Yeah. Well, that's because you're in California. I'm sorry, but
nobody likes us in this administration.
Yeah, I think that's great. But then Kaya or whatever Trump's niece's name is, all the videos that she's putting out, she's in California. She's not in stinky Florida. She's in California complaining about prices. But my point being, it's a beautiful state. It's a progressive state for the most part. There's a ton of Republicans there too, so they shouldn't feel out of sorts. But let's not knock it because you don't like the governor. It's just silly.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, and honestly, Newsom has really been trolling Trump pretty well. I guess there was just a recent video that they put out of that Melania video where she's walking with the AI robot. Well, they changed the AI robot to Trump and had him. So, I haven't seen it yet, but I'm definitely going to look that one up because he's just been trolling him so badly. Yep. There it is.
Yeah. That was a really weird thing I wanted to talk to you guys about as well. Just to finish up on TSA, BWI, Baltimore's airport has one TSA checkpoint open. You're not making your flight. George Bush International, Houston, used to be Houston Intercontinental. They're winding outside the terminal at this point. So no clear, no pre-check, no nothing for you. And why bother flying? I mean, you're not going anywhere anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just insane. So if the Republicans are making this about funding ICE, we just found out yesterday that ICE is still getting funded. So now you're just doing it to be a dick, essentially.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't know. And just to finish up on the cybersecurity infrastructure security, the head of that also testified yesterday. They have about 1,000 vacancies. So as we're removing people with brains, we're also making ourselves less safe. I will say at the airport, if I saw a bunch of people outside with luggage, right after 9/11, wouldn't be allowed. You can't even loiter outside of the cockpit to take a whiz. But we're going to have all these massive people just standing at the airport. It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, there was absolutely, there's no plan for any of this.
No.
None of this is thought through. None of this is, it just makes no sense. And that's not to even mention the fact that the air traffic controllers are stretched to the limit.
And a super stressful job. Yes.
Super
Yep.
stressful job. I mean, we saw what happened at LaGuardia. And no amount of funding is going to fix that because the training for these people takes years. Literally, it takes years.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
ideally, if you can get people that did that job in the military and train them to do civilian, it saves some time. But I mean, that is a huge concern.
Well, the
And
whole
yeah, we're seeing it
system.
now. We're seeing, and there, a lot of these close calls have not been reported. They've happened on the ground. They've happened in the air.
Yep.
Again, that's something that they don't care about that either. And that goes back to Reagan when he fired the air traffic controllers, which, I mean, you know, the roots of this go back a long way.
Sure.
Yeah. Yeah. That's true about a lot of this stuff. It's like, if you look back, you can see how we were leading to this moment. You know,
Mhm.
there's so many places along the way where you could have seen that would have been different. You know, like let's say Al Gore had won in 2000 or had, you know,
I was thinking the same thing.
Yeah.
And then look at three people that were part of Bush's defense team are on the Supreme Court.
Right.
Gorsuch, the new lady,
And Kavanaugh.
Connie Roberts. I'm sorry.
Right? Wasn't Kavanaugh part of that too? Was Kavanaugh there? Or was he just part of the Brooks Brothers riot that they went in and they shut down the recount?
He might have been both, but the point is now they're in the highest court in the land because they helped this. And it's ironic because the reason that they wanted to keep the vote going was for military and overseas ballots. Right now, they're trying to make it that we won't count a single ballot after Election Day.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that worked when we were a much smaller populated country, but give me a break. The Supreme Court says, oh, it's Election Day, just like, you know, your birthday or Christmas Day. It's a day. Like, no,
You can
you
still
get
get
it
a
right.
present the next day.
Yeah,
The
I have
holiday doesn't
birthday
end.
month. I mean, I have a whole month to celebrate my birthday, so I don't know. You know, I don't know what they're talking about.
It just doesn't make sense. Everybody's vote, if you were in line at 7 o'clock, should be counted. Like, why are we changing this? Trump talked about mail-in voting being cheating. Ironically, Barron, him, and Melania just voted mail-in Florida.
Yeah,
His
and lost.
candidate in
Yeah,
Mar-a-Lago lost.
lost.
Mhm.
The other candidate in the Florida special election also lost to a Democrat, but he said, "I'm the president. That's why I did it." They're like, "Well, you've been in town for like days. You could have just did that."
No.
I'm the president. I can do mail-in.
Mm-hmm.
Right, but everybody else is cheating.
That's right.
Yeah, everybody
That's
else.
a king to me. So yeah, I mean, they just changed the rules. Mail-in worked to get W. Bush because it would have been bad for him, but like, you know, it ended up being terrible for all of us. We could have been
Always,
ahead of the
yeah.
curve on climate change. It was somebody that recognized it with Al Gore. We could have been the greenest country in the world, leading that charge, which is what America used to be about, being progressive, pushing forward, having the brain trust to like make us better for the population, not just the 1/10 of 1%.
Mm-hmm.
And now we don't have that. Now I have to look at with envy at China that's able to roll out all this stuff. I mean, they have streetlights that use wind turbine on the streetlights. They're able to bring solar power out to crash scenes and stuff where they need extra power. Our president hates that. It kills 1,000 bald eagles every day. Yes,
Yeah.
yes, it does. We hate wind power. We hate solar power. We're just a bunch of haters unless we're drilling oil.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Or mining coal. We like mining coal too.
Oh
Well,
yeah.
yes, talk to the West Virginia miners and just see how much fun that was, because
Mm,
Mhm.
dangerous and unnecessary at this point, frankly.
yeah.
Yeah.
But we'll see. Melania, I just want to put that back up. They talked about these robots, and this one was called Plato. Very cute, because if you wanted to learn about, Greek mythology or whatever, philosophy, whatever, this is your teacher, just for you.
Yeah, it's just, and which one's the robot? Because Melania looks bad.
Yeah, I thought the other guy was just Daft Punk or something, you know.
Special guest appearance.
Yeah, that was. I don't know. I just don't understand where they're kind of going with this. This is probably a better one because they do look pretty similar. Melania was very envious of the waistline of this robot.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that's a really normal waistline for humans.
Oh yeah.
So it's just really weird because this one spoke and it had a humanoid robot with a Valley Girl accent. I'm not sure whose idea that was. It's kind of passe, but like, really?
Yeah, and it sounds really annoying. Like, why would you want your robot to talk
Mhm.
all the time? Like, for
And like,
sure.
President Trump's the greatest leader ever. He stopped so many wars and all.
Yeah. What
Exactly.
are these 8 wars he thinks he stopped? I do not understand. He thinks he stopped 8 wars, which he can't name and nobody seems to know.
Yeah.
And now he's done more attacking than 8 places. So it's
Yeah.
like, why do you think you deserve a peace prize when you're busy killing people?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You
I
know?
Blowing
mean,
up elementary schools. I mean,
Mhm.
busy guy.
and that was
Yep.
all through AI, which we just are going to turn it over to them, turn it AI killing machine,
Yep.
because you wouldn't want a human to look over it before disaster happens because
Well,
Mm-mm.
that might
and
be too smart.
AI is already disobeying its orders. So let's not forget that the fact that at some point AI is going to be smarter than us, and it's going to decide, what do I need these people for?
Yeah, they
Yeah.
need to go back to the robot rules, from Asimov's his robot books, where
Yeah.
they programmed into the robots like you cannot do this, you cannot do so they can't, but they're not doing any of that. There's no regulation on AI. It's just whatever people can come up with, they do, and
Hmm.
I'm not against AI. I'm against like no regulation on it.
For sure.
I
Yeah.
think
2 points. The first AI elementary school is going to open up with no teachers. It's set to open in Chicago this fall, so it's coming sooner than most people would think. And then to your point that you just said, Trump gave 13 tech billionaires the key to the AI policy. So Meta, um, Oracle, Google, AMD, Dell, Coinbase. These are going to be the guys that are going to decide policy, what's right and wrong. These companies are worth a combined $12 trillion. Their AI spending is committed, I think, committed at $700 billion. So, with that kind of money that you have, the power of your money, plus what you're investing in this, do you think they're going to like find ways to make it succeed for themselves or not? Like,
yeah.
come on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
It'll be
frightening.
it'll be great for factory owners. You'll have a bunch of robots in there doing stuff, and if somebody gets hurt, well, it's just a robot,
For sure.
Yeah.
But
But but all the people that worked in that factory that aren't collecting a paycheck won't be buying Bezos's garbage either
mm-mm,
because you won't have any cash.
that's
Yeah.
Um,
And
Go ahead.
well, how I still don't understand how the AI robot teacher is going to work. Is there going to be an adult in the room?
No teacher, but maybe an adult to recharge it later.
I mean, you're going to have a room full of what, 20 kids, 20 elementary school age kids just sitting there staring and listening and paying attention to a robot that can't like keep an eye on everybody all at once.
right.
I mean, how is this going to work? This
It,
doesn't seem well thought out either.
it's a stupid idea because as somebody who teaches, I can tell you right now, there's a lot more teaching that goes on that's not just the material, right?
Hmm.
Like, especially with younger kids. There's a lot of social problems. There's a lot of things that a person needs to be there to kind of, get the situation under control. I
Read
don't
the room a little bit.
Yeah.
Know what's going on. Yeah.
right. See whether your students are learning. Like I look at people and I look for, quizzical expressions or just any sign that they're not getting it and I need to say it again in a different way. And there's no back and forth with a robot. They're
Yeah.
just going to teach whatever they're programmed to teach, whether the students grasp it or not.
Well, and
Yeah.
those kids will just tune out, man. Like I got a couple more hours of this till I can go home to my screen at home that I like.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
maybe they just bring their own little tablet to school.
Yeah, how's a dummy AI robot gonna know?
Yeah. Or, maybe somebody starts picking on somebody else and you've got two kids rolling around in the aisle.
Yeah, exactly. That's sort of one of the things I think of is they're kids and they're gonna get into like social, issues. They're gonna be social issues. Somebody's gonna get
Mhm.
bullied, somebody's gonna get, whatever. And there's no person there, no
Yeah.
adult that's gonna be supervising, you
Well,
know.
and not somebody that you would see at home. You're not going to see a parent figure in your classroom, which does make a difference. And I'm sure between the three of us, we can name most of our elementary school teachers. I mean, they had that kind of impact, good or bad.
Mhm.
The effort was there, but I'm sure you recall them. Their model is to have each student having an individual robot, which is ridiculous.
And
Only
expensive.
isolating us more, right?
Mhm.
No
Why don't we just pay
collaboration.
teachers more? Let's just pay teachers more and skip the expensive AI robots. Like,
This isn't
Yeah.
Singapore, Melissa, okay? We're not paying any more.
I mean, teachers in California, teachers make so little money. It's ridiculous. And you go to school, you have to get your teaching credentials. So you've got basically 5 years of school under your belt, and they're going to pay you like $50,000, which in LA is nothing.
Yeah. Oh God.
You
Yeah.
can't live off that.
No, you can't. So, and then you have to buy supplies because they don't give supplies to you. So you're going to have to buy pencils and crayons and whatever.
Yeah.
It's just completely, ass backward. I mean, we're supposed to be making this investment in our future. Don't we all want an educated populace in our future? Like, isn't that better for everyone, whether it's your kid or not? And
Mhm.
Yeah.
it infuriates me that we don't want to put the money into educating our population. Which
Well,
Yeah.
and I feel like this older generation, these CEOs that never retired or go on to consulting and just fill their seat with a junior, um, they don't get that. They almost feel like they're going to be here forever. So they status quo works for them. Hey, I'm at the top. I'm going to be here. But the reality is that that's how nations crumble.
yeah.
You get
Well, it
stale,
is.
you get old. There's no, like I say, there's just no forward thinking on any of this. And the teachers are just completely undervalued for what they bring on the social end, as you pointed out. Extremely important. Maybe they give you a tip on how to deal with your frustration. Maybe they see that you're frustrated and can stop it before it continues on or it starts including other kids, or you get a reputation as being a crazy kid in your class because you didn't know how to handle it. You really didn't have that kind of adult interaction to kind of help you learn. We all had to learn
Mhm.
somehow.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, we were fortunate. We had good neighbors that were able to kind of clue us in on the rules of the street type of thing. Like now these kids are in the car to private lessons. Now I got to go to violin. Now I've got to go to this, that, or the other. It's like you're not learning the rules of like how to get along with others and find success doing it together type of thing.
Right. Right.
Yeah. But again, when you have an authoritarian regime, an educated population is a threat. You don't want people asking too many questions. You don't want people thinking critically. You don't want people, saying, wait a minute, this isn't right. This isn't how it's supposed to be. You don't want that. You want,
I think a very deliberate decision, not by just this administration, but by
Mhm.
many administrations.
Well, it
Where
started with Reagan, as we
Yep.
always say, not funding public education, not really caring.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And here we are, a bunch of dummies.
Yep. Yep. It's a scary thing. And I know in my daughter's generation, a lot of the boys, she tells me, and I just saw an article, 30% of them think the women should obey their husbands.
Yeah.
That's
You
why
know,
that's why they're going running back to religion, right? Because I'm the patriarch. They should be listening to me. You stay at
that's
home.
why we're all incels because nobody wants to be with someone who thinks that she should obey her husband. I mean, that's
That's
maybe we should.
archaic.
It is. It's ridiculous. It makes no sense. But,
And for the second year in a row, women have lost ground on equal pay. For 2 years now, that gap has grown rather than shrunk. So I don't understand how anybody can justify paying a woman less than they pay a man for the same job. I just don't know how that's justifiable. You can't
it's
say, oh,
not.
this person's tall, so I'm going to pay them more, and this person's short, so I'm going to pay them less. Like you can't do that. And I don't
Yeah.
know how that's justified.
Well,
And
they've been getting away with that for quite a while, and that doesn't seem to change. I did see an interesting statistic that about 40% of women from the age of 37 or maybe 35 to 50 would leave the country in a heartbeat.
Mhm.
Just not that interested. And
No,
why
who
would
can
you
blame
be?
them?
Where's your chance for advancement? I mean, now they want to take you back and make you a trad wife led by um, Erica Kirk telling you take care of those babies and such. Meanwhile, I haven't seen her with her kids since her husband was
Yeah.
assassinated.
Yeah. Yeah.
And don't bother looking into who actually did it, because that would be an insult to Charlie. And I
Yeah.
will say this. I saw a video yesterday. Charlie Kirk was on, I don't know, he was Tucker Carlson, I guess. And it was an old video, obviously, since he's passed. But he was really hateful and disregarded a lot of groups of people.
Mhm.
And I just couldn't listen to him go on and on. So they wanted to name a street after him. He got the official government burial and ushered around on Air Force Two and all this stuff. And the bottom line is, if you listen to his material, he was kind of a hateful person.
He
Mhm.
was. He was a racist.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and it's hard to get on board with that and accept that on any level.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
It is. Yeah. I mean, and that's why when he died and people said things back that they were quoting him,
Mhm.
and everybody was furious. Like, but we're just quoting this man, you know.
Exact words, Greg.
Yeah, exact words.
Right.
Yeah.
And not to change topic, but just to continue on your point and close it on the A1 policy and who's in charge of that policy, the billionaires. Zero consumer advocates, zero representation of laborers, zero for representatives of science or ethicists.
Oh, yeah, we don't need ethicists in
We don't need
anything.
any of that.
I mean, so that covers none of us are going to be on this. So you better be a billionaire and in the tech business if you want to have a say.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I'll just close with the fact that Meta invested 27 billion themselves in an AI data center that's making people sick in Louisiana. So, you know, if I have to make policy, I'm going to say, hey, you get sick, maybe move, because I'm the priority. You know how much I'm worth? I'm the priority.
Oh, yeah.
So kind of a problem.
It's
Not
a
to
giant
mention
problem.
those data centers like use so much electricity that they're making all of our electricity costs go way up.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you want to build your data center, fine, but you better figure out a way to get it powered, because I don't want to pay for your AI center.
Yeah, and you fund
Yeah.
it. That's exactly right. We talked about this where we had a utility company here that raised the rates 50%, and their customer service was great about explaining why, but it was about building out their infrastructure. So it wasn't about rates of electricity going up or gas. It was about their business model. And in the past, that was up to the shareholders and the company to figure out a way to do that and still turn a profit. It shouldn't come to the consumer that's actually buying your terrible product at a higher rate now. 50% is pretty extreme.
Mhm.
You go from like a $200 bill to basically a $500 bill. You notice it.
Yeah.
Oh my God. And you know, there's people that, you know, the $200 is kind of pushing the limit for them.
For sure. That's usually an unexpected cost too, where I'm like, oh my God, this is how much for what?
Mhm.
I don't even run my air conditioning.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I know. My water costs are really high in California, but you know, I live in California, so I'm going to pay for certain things.
Sure. Well, and Colorado's big on recycling, so their trash is very expensive. But you know, it's not out of left field. You got to do something with the trash. We pretend we recycle. Well, when China's not buying our plastics, it's going in the landfill, buddy.
Yep.
Like,
Yep.
not the best place for it. But if you don't have a better plan and you're not really caring about it, you're not going to make that kind of change anyway. So,
Oh yeah.
and to that point, Thailand's running out of fuel. It's basically crashed their tourism just in 3 weeks. They have no air conditioning, and it's about 104 degrees there, is what we figured out.
And swampy, like humid.
A real issue, and that's going to be an issue for all of us. You know, St. Louis has had times where we had some really hot summers, and the people that can't afford their electricity just cook in these brick houses. There's no way to avoid it. They just heat up, and if you're not looking out for these people that are low income that are in these homes, you have a real problem, and that's going to be a problem for all of us because we're all on that energy teat, so to speak. I mean, we talked about this before, where these data centers are going to be able to control your thermostat. We need your power. We're going to have to shut yours down for a few hours. Be all right. You know, and
So
it's
people
one of
can
those.
make videos of vegetables dancing. It's important that we have these AI companies to allow us to do that.
So thankful, and I'll pay whatever I must.
I'll pay
Yeah.
whatever just to be able to do that.
Thank you, AI.
Right.
Now I can write these emails that I don't know how to write. AI will write it for me.
Oh, it's amazing, and nobody will ever know.
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
So I don't know. It's just, the whole thing's a grift, and then we've named several things that can be distracting. I did see another thing where the U.S. State Department's using funds for international disasters, Thailand, and peacekeeping. They gave $1.25 billion in foreign aid from our State Department to Trump's Board of Peace.
Jesus.
So it's like,
So,
where's this money actually going?
yeah, right to Trump. And what does the Board of Peace actually do?
I don't know, but shouldn't they be chiming in this Iran thing? Like, that's the perfect place to go. The Board of Peace. It's all in the name.
Yeah,
Mhm.
right. Well, we've got the Secretary of War and the Board of Peace. Like that doesn't
Yeah.
make a whole lot of sense from, a PR perspective.
Very good point. And that guy that you mentioned does look like he's probably using at this point. Looks pretty out there, I must say. And then they gave these Christian sermons that he gives once a week, and just horrendous. You're reading right out of the good book. It's spiting your enemies, and making sure every mark is killed. What is this?
Yeah.
Well, he wants to recreate the Crusades. He's a big fan of the Crusaders. So let's just have a holy war.
Christian worship services, Crusades 2.0. Absolutely right.
Yeah,
And
this
he
is
just sounds like
horrifying.
a joke.
Yeah.
It's fucking horrifying.
I mean, I
That's
don't know
what it
why
is.
people think that like radical Islam is worse than radical Christianity. It's like radical anything is no good, right?
Yeah, radical Zionism, radical Christianity, radical
yeah,
Islam.
all of them. Anytime someone is being, like judging everybody else against their religious standards, you've
I
got
mean, we saw the representative that said she wasn't worried about climate change, because I read the book, and if you saw how it ends with Jesus, don't worry about it.
It's gonna be fine.
You can do that, but teach at your theology school. Like, I don't need you in my government spewing that.
Yeah.
Believe what you want, but don't force that on other people that we don't have to worry because it's in the good book. It's just insane.
Yeah. And again, this goes back to Reagan and the Republicans, because the evangelicals used to not vote. They stayed out of it. And once they started courting and activating these people, shit started going downhill.
Yeah. And now you can see it on all the church billboards during election season. Awesome.
Yeah. Really inappropriate, but yeah.
Extremely. I mean, there
It's
is still
pretty
a
crazy.
separation of church and state.
Yeah, they forgot that part. Okay.
In theory there is, but
Yeah.
you
They
have-
very conveniently forgot every part of the Constitution that they don't like.
right, which is most of it. Anything that gives them rights, they don't like.
Yeah.
And then Trump this cabinet meeting just went on. It was a fluff fest. We saw it 3 days ago where Bondi said so many amazing things, and he was like, I don't know if you can outdo that, Kash Patel. And then he started stroking him, and then it went to the next thing. Well, these cabinet meetings are the same thing, where they just sit there and say, thanks to Donald Trump. Meanwhile, he's falling asleep over there when they mention his name. He's not really paying attention. And then it just becomes a fluff fest. He was talking about his cognitive tests again. He's taken 3 of them. You don't take that test unless they're worried you have a problem, right?
Yeah.
Our mom took one. She was not in a great place, and I wouldn't have voted for her to be president at the time.
Well, I used to give them in one of my former jobs. We had to give cognitive tests because I work with people who had Alzheimer's, and they're not asking tough questions. They're
Very
like
hard questions. The last ones you couldn't even answer.
Yeah, exactly. Like they'll show you a picture of a pencil and ask you what it is. Like that's what these tests are. They are not, or silly things like here's a list of 5 words. Can you remember them? Right.
And Apple book coat. I'll never forget.
Yes, exactly. They're just like a list of words that you can just like make a harmony out of and remember them. They're not hard, but I mean, the fact that he keeps bragging about them, and that's just the 3 we know of. They probably give one to him, regularly because he's clearly showing signs of having some type of memory difficulties.
Absolutely.
And I don't know. I mean, and then he says, oh, he should get a 3rd term, right? What? You can't do enough. You did so much destruction in the last year. What's left to destroy?
Yeah.
You still got 3 years to do more if you must.
I
Oh,
know.
I mean, he rolled into like ballpoint pens. That went on for like 4 minutes of him talking about $1,000 pens, and he's saving all this money because people want a pen. And the war so far is $30 billion in Iran. Nobody cares about your ballpoint pen and the amount of savings that you have based on your pens, but everything's about this guy. I mean, at the National Republican Congressional Committee annual fundraising gala yesterday, Mike Johnson gave Trump the first America First award. It's a gold eagle, I guess. And his quote was, "This beautiful gold statue is appropriate for the new golden era of America." I mean, this is bronze at best. Feels more like copper, but I mean, who's buying that? The person waiting in the TSA line at the airport who's fortunate enough to be able to travel or for business or something, or the person that just paid $50 for a pack of hamburger buns, some ground meat, and some potatoes.
Yeah, and they have to make it last for 4 days.
Right.
That's right. I mean, it's just crazy that this is the conversation that they want to have while all of this is going on. Again, he points out the Strait of Hormuz. We don't need that. It does nothing for us as a nation. We don't need the oil. We have so much oil, but fertilizer comes through there. Spring's coming. We have so many farmers that haven't secured any fertilizer yet, which feeds us. It's a real problem. But laptops, iPhones, all of this pertains to us. All of it comes through the strait. That's not even talking about helium. Jet fuel. Helium is for MRIs. If you want to get your MRI, you better have some helium on hand.
Not just for balloons.
I'm making your voice sound funny.
That's more what I was thinking too. You're already paying with high grocery bills, expensive housing, expensive electricity, and now we're going to run into a shortage of food. Billy, how much did you pay for an apple yesterday?
I paid $1.50 for an apple.
$1.50 for one apple.
And it was a good apple. It was a Jazz apple. It was a very good apple, but $1.50. And it wasn't at Whole Foods. It was just at the regular grocery store, out of the bin.
Yeah.
Crazy. But just to make a point, oil prices affect everything. Oil used to power the supply chain. So once that stops, then none of this stuff is coming over. Not only the machines to manufacture the crap, but also the diesel that it takes to bring the crap to your location type of thing. Super short-sighted, as you said, absolutely no plan for any of this stuff. And at the same time, you have a third of Americans that are skipping meals or foregoing other needs so they can have health care.
Yeah, or foregoing their medication so they can eat.
Yeah.
Or pay their electric bill. I mean, deciding they have to, ration their medication. Maybe I'll take half my insulin.
Right.
It's disgusting.
We talked about it Tuesday. You're still, you're not required, but you still pay twice as much for healthcare that does basically nothing. So it's a tax to be an American to have healthcare.
It just gives you the right to pay more.
Yeah. And that's why 2 million people said, not that interested. I will throw in, because I do love the USPS. I'm a huge fan, but they are, for the first time ever in their history, which does go back to the Constitution, 8% surcharge on all parcels because of fuel costs. So that's really helpful to FedEx and UPS because they're gouging you already. But we don't need the strait. Not a big deal. Let's send those 12,000 Marines in there and see what we get.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I know where Heggy will be.
And so they can die, so we can have cheaper gas prices and we can get our helium. Like I don't know who wants their kid to die for that kind of reason.
Yeah. And
about.
And those deaths probably won't result in cheaper gas because there is no end game. What are you going to do? How many people are you going to throw into a meat grinder and hope for a different result?
Yep.
But it does keep distracting from the Epstein files, which would put a lot of people in jail. Trump, I mean, this stuff's on congressional record of the testimony of people, in particular, the young female at the time that said Trump forced copulation on her. There was a biting incident. All part of our congressional records at this point, but it doesn't go any further. Why? Because we can just throw more shit out there that's going to distract people. Doge came in. We don't even talk about that anymore. They almost didn't want to release the videos of those chowder heads talking about DEI, which they couldn't even explain what their criteria was for stopping certain programs, other than it sounded kind of black or fill in the blank. Just ridiculous. And we're going to protect those kinds of people, but we're not looking out for the victims that really deserve some kind of justice from all these people. I don't care left, right, center. This is like good and evil, man.
Right. Oh, you hear that from people on the left. We don't care if they're Democrats. We don't care if they're Democrats. They should go down too. You don't hear that from Republicans.
Yeah, for sure.
They want to protect their own. They don't want to have, real justice for these women who suffered.
And no, they don't care. And there's a percentage of the population that's fine with it. Oh, the president's a pedophile. That's okay. I still like him. And ironically enough, you know who hates pedophiles? Convicts. You know where pedophiles meet real justice? Prison.
Prison. Yeah. True, they do hate pedophiles.
Yep. Well, and you said women, but I know women were involved, but there was also the majority were children. These guys all had a type, young boys too. And you just have to pay attention and keep listening to what is being released, because, the Department of Justice came out and said they got rid of 50,000, hits on Trump and charges against him in pedophilia. It's like they're telling you that they're making it go away. But as we know with the internet, nothing goes away forever.
Yeah.
So I really hope these guys get some justice. And it's just horrific. Again, like seeing these kids' faces and their reaction to some of these adults. And there were a lot of celebrities involved too, but these politicians, it was just disgusting. And it makes you sick to your stomach, frankly.
Yeah.
It really does. Are they finding anything out in New Mexico? Are they still?
They're still digging. And I heard that somebody that had gone onto the property, not necessarily legally, but we're starting to find some bones and such. I mean, you can't hide what went down there, and I don't think it'll be hidden for long. But it has to be a state investigation, because once the feds get involved, everything goes away, because they're just protecting their own.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So. I don't know. I don't know if you have anything else to add to that. I did have some other things on science, but I feel like I've kept Melissa for quite a while here.
Well, I've enjoyed every second of it.
All right. Does that mean we get you to come back?
Yeah. When are you coming back?
I will come back. I will come back. Yes. You do it on Tuesdays is kind of hard, but Thursdays I can make that work sometimes.
All right.
Okay,
well,
good.
You let us know any Thursday, because it's always a pleasure having some insight.
Anytime. Open invitation.
From a smart woman is always key to this getting us to be better.
Thank you. That's a good characterization. I appreciate the characterization.
And then happy endings, if you have one. I do want to mention No Kings again. It's this Saturday. Just Google it, find out where it is in your town. It's generally a good time. We went in some terrible weather. It was still a good time. So
it was great.
Don't let that be a deterrent. And get out. Show your support for those that are also feeling this regime is just too much.
Yeah, and who knows? This may be the last chance we get, so let's make it count.
Absolutely. Anybody else on a happy ending? I know baseball started today. That's probably one of them.
Yeah.
Well, the day that baseball ends is more a happy ending for me.
Fair enough.
Well, let's see. I went to got the invite to go to trivia with Cole and his buddies last night. They needed an old person to help with some of the questions, and I booted it. One of the last questions was it was a musical question, so they play a song.
Yeah.
Love Will Tear Us Apart, and I just could not think of, and all of the musical answers, the band had a J involved, and all I could think of was the Jam. Like Joy Division.
I love Joy Division. Do you know what that name comes from?
Mm-mm.
It was like in it was World War II. They had like a cadre of prostitutes that the Japanese would like access. The soldiers would access, and they were called the Joy Division.
Oh wow!
And it was all Korean women, wasn't it?
I might have been, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, might have been, but I like
reading about that.
Yeah. Shame that wasn't part of the trivia night.
No, I know. But
yeah.
That's all right. Everybody's allowed to, you know, have a brain second of non-connectivity, so it's okay.
I know. Well, last week it was the theme. Who sang the theme song to Friends? And I knew it began with an R, and I was like Remington or
Refreshments.
yeah. It wasn't.
Yeah.
The
No.
Bill.
It was the Rembrandts.
Okay.
Mhm.
And when you're going up against engineers, you can't be booting those kind of questions. But
No, we needed every point we could get. Or who sang My Girl?
yeah, that was tough.
That one talking about my girl.
It's the Temptations.
I didn't know who it was.
Me neither. I guessed everything but the Temptations.
Yeah. Yeah, the Four Tops.
Yeah, I wouldn't know.
Well, that made me a little bit happier. Maybe we'll get better at trivia eventually, but it was nice to be asked. They like the Gen Xers to come out and fill in some of the historical stuff that the engineers can't figure out or don't know.
Yeah, we'll see if we get asked again. I'm not sure.
You did good, Billy. You do the best you can.
Well, I had a couple that they didn't get, but like some of the science questions, I had no idea, and they nailed it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's why you bring them too. You got a couple engineers in there.
Mhm.
And
Smart
nobody can be
kids.
good at everything, right? You have
That's
to,
right.
everyone has their niche, so
Yeah, you have to specialize.
that's right.
Correct. All right. Well, Melissa, great having you. I'd love to have you any Thursday you're available. I just think it's fun to get your perspective on a lot of this stuff. I know we're all pretty like-minded, but we all come from a different perspective and still end up at the same end point, which is this is a mess.
Yes,
A
we
shit
do. We
show.
all get there. We all get to the same place, but we get there from different paths.
Exactly. So, and I do appreciate that. Billy, I appreciate your time as well. Did I lose you?
No.
Okay. Yeah. Appreciate your time as well. I hope you guys have a good rest of your day. And hopefully we'll see you soon, Melissa.
Yeah.
Sure.
All right.
Have a good
Have a great
day.
rest of your week.
Thanks, you too.
All right.
Bye.
Thanks, guys.
Bye.